Every morning, rain or shine, 14-year-old Emma stood on the sidewalk near the corner of Westbrook and Elm. She didn't care if the sky was blotted with heavy clouds or painted with the brilliant orange hues of sunrise. She only cared about one thing: the moment Taylor Swift's car would drive by. Emma, in her usual spot outside the little bakery her mother owned, would wait patiently for the sleek black SUV to appear. As it rolled past, tinted windows glinting, she would wave enthusiastically, her small hand cutting through the air like a flag of devotion. To her delight, one of the back windows would lower just an inch, and a slender hand with perfectly manicured nails would wave back. Before we start, hit the like and subscribe buttons for more exclusive news. It had started months ago, just after Taylor Swift moved to their quiet suburban neighborhood. The media circus surrounding the pop superstar's arrival had dwindled quickly as residents learned to respect her privacy. But not Emma. She never pestered Taylor for photos or autographs. She was content with their daily ritual, a quiet connection in a loud world. Emma would tell her mother each day about the brief yet exhilarating exchange. "She waved at me again, Mom," she'd say, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Her mother would smile knowingly, dusting flour off her apron. "She knows you're her biggest fan, honey." One crisp autumn morning, Emma stood in her usual spot, bundled up in a cozy red scarf her grandmother had knitted. The sun had barely risen, casting long shadows over the street. Her breath hung in the cold air as she kept her eyes fixed on the bend in the road, waiting for Taylor's car. Minutes ticked by. The familiar SUV didn't appear. Emma's heart sank as her mind raced. Taylor's car had never been late. She always passed by at precisely 7:45 a.m., like clockwork. Emma glanced down at her watch. 8:05. Something wasn't right. A faint unease stirred in her chest. Dismissing it, she told herself that maybe Taylor had taken a different route. But the feeling lingered, gnawing at her like a whisper she couldn't quite hear. The rest of the day passed uneventfully, but the absence of their morning wave cast a shadow over Emma's mood. That night, as she lay in bed, she replayed the empty street in her mind. Her gut told her something was off, but what could she do? She was just a kid. Shrugging off her unease, she drifted into a restless sleep. The next morning, Emma woke with a sense of urgency she couldn't explain. The uneasy feeling from the previous day hadn't dissipated, it had only grown stronger. She rushed through her morning routine and bolted to her usual spot by the bakery. But again, Taylor's car didn't appear. Emma's concern deepened. She decided to confide in her best friend Sophie at school that day. "Do you think something's happened to her?" Emma asked, her voice trembling. Sophie rolled her eyes. "She's Taylor Swift, Em. She probably just has a different schedule this week." But Emma wasn't convinced. Something in her heart told her this wasn't just a change in routine. That night, she sat by her bedroom window, staring at the darkened sky, unable to shake the nagging worry. Her mind replayed every interaction she'd ever had with Taylor, searching for a clue, a sign, anything that could explain the singer's sudden absence. By the third morning without a wave, Emma couldn't take it anymore. Her gut was screaming at her louder than ever. She decided she had to do something. She had to make sure Taylor was okay. After school, Emma waited for her mom to close up the bakery. "Can I walk around the neighborhood a bit before dinner?" she asked, trying to sound casual. Her mother hesitated. "Just stay close, okay, and be home before dark." Emma nodded, her heart pounding. She set off in the direction she had seen Taylor's car come from so many times before. Her footsteps echoed on the quiet streets as she passed rows of neat houses. When she finally reached the large iron gates of Taylor's property, she stopped. The estate was grand yet understated, surrounded by tall hedges that gave it an air of mystery. Emma hesitated, her nerves catching up with her. What was she even planning to do? She couldn't just walk up to the front door and knock. But before she could talk herself out of it, she noticed something strange. The gate was slightly ajar. Her heart raced. She pushed the gate open further and stepped inside. The property was eerily silent. No dogs barked, no voices carried from the house. Emma felt like an intruder, but her concern for Taylor outweighed her fear. She approached the front door and rang the doorbell. The chime echoed faintly, but no one answered. "Taylor?" Emma called out, her voice small against the vastness of the house. She rang the bell again, then knocked. Still, no response. The feeling in her gut intensified. She decided to check around back, her sneakers crunching softly on the gravel path. As she rounded the corner, she noticed a light on in one of the upstairs windows. Relief flooded her. Someone was home. She knocked on the back door, louder this time. "Taylor? It's Emma. Are you okay?" For a moment, there was nothing but the sound of her own breathing. Then, to her astonishment, the door creaked open slightly as if someone had left it unlocked. Emma hesitated at the threshold, her instincts screaming at her to turn back. But the thought of Taylor in danger propelled her forward. She stepped inside, her hands trembling. The house was immaculate, but something felt off. "Taylor?" she called again, her voice echoing through the grand hallway. She made her way to the staircase, following the faint sound of music drifting down from the second floor. It was one of Taylor's songs, playing softly but eerily in the otherwise silent house. Emma climbed the stairs, her pulse quickening with each step. She stopped outside the room where the light was on and the music was coming from. Slowly, she pushed the door open. Her heart nearly stopped. There, sitting on the floor, was Taylor Swift, her face pale and drawn, her eyes red from crying. She looked up, startled, when Emma entered. "Emma? What are you doing here?" Taylor asked, her voice hoarse. I was worried," Emma stammered. "You didn't wave. I thought something was wrong." Taylor managed a weak smile, wiping at her tears. "That's sweet of you. I've had a rough few days." Emma stepped further into the room, her fear melting into concern. "What happened?" Taylor hesitated, then sighed deeply. "I got some bad news about someone I care about. It's been hard to focus on anything else." Emma's heart ached for her idol. She had always seen Taylor as larger than life, but now she realized that even someone as famous as Taylor Swift could have her own struggles and pain. Emma hesitated before sitting down on the floor beside Taylor. "I know I'm just a kid, but if you want to talk, I'm a good listener." Taylor smiled softly, the tension in her shoulders easing a little. "Thank you, Emma. That means a lot." For the next hour they talked. Taylor shared her worries, and Emma offered quiet words of comfort. The bond that had begun with a simple wave deepened in that moment, as they connected on a human level, beyond the glitz and glamour of Taylor's fame. When Emma finally left that evening, the weight in her chest had lifted. She felt like she had done something important, something meaningful. She had followed her gut, and it had led her to a moment of connection and understanding that neither she nor Taylor would forget. The next morning, Emma returned to her spot by the bakery. She wasn't sure if Taylor would drive by, but she stood there anyway, her heart full of hope. At exactly 7:45 a.m., the familiar black SUV rounded the corner. Emma's face lit up as she raised her hand to wave. The window rolled down and Taylor's hand appeared, waving back more enthusiastically than ever. In that simple gesture, Emma knew everything was going to be okay. Emma stood outside the bakery, her hands still raised as Taylor's SUV disappeared down the street. Even after the car turned the corner, her smile lingered, warmth blooming in her chest. Their morning ritual had returned, but now it carried deeper meaning. Emma wasn't just another fan on the sidelines. She had glimpsed a side of Taylor Swift the world rarely saw, a side of vulnerability and quiet strength. As she walked back inside to help her mom, she couldn't help but reflect on the strange events of the past few days. What had started as a gnawing worry had turned into something extraordinary. Yet Emma couldn't shake the feeling that her connection with Taylor wasn't purely accidental. Life had a funny way of weaving stories together, and Emma felt she was now part of a much larger one. Her mother glanced up from behind the counter, her hands busy kneading dough. "You seem happier today," she remarked. Emma nodded, her thoughts elsewhere. "Taylor's okay," she said simply, though the words felt heavier with the knowledge of everything she had learned. Her mom smiled knowingly. "I'm glad to hear that. Sometimes just knowing someone cares can make all the difference." That afternoon, as Emma helped her mother stock shelves, the bakery's front door jingled. She looked up and froze. Standing there in a simple gray hoodie and sunglasses was Taylor Swift herself. "Hi," Taylor said, her voice soft but warm. "Emma, could we talk for a minute?" Emma's jaw nearly dropped. She nodded, wiping her flour-dusted hands on her apron and following Taylor outside. Her mother's curious gaze trailed them, but she said nothing. "I wanted to thank you," Taylor began as they stood on the quiet sidewalk, "for coming to check on me. It was brave of you." Emma felt her cheeks flush. "I was just worried," she mumbled. "I didn't mean to intrude." "You didn't," Taylor assured her. "You reminded me that even in tough times I'm not alone. She hesitated before continuing, her expression thoughtful. I'd like to invite you and your mom over for dinner tomorrow, just as a thank you. It would mean a lot to me. Emma's heart raced. Dinner at Taylor Swift's house? It felt like a dream. She nodded eagerly. We'd love to. Taylor smiled, her face lighting up in a way that made her seem more like a regular person than a global superstar. Great, I'll send my driver to pick you up at 6. The next evening, Emma and her mother stood at the gate of Taylor's estate, their breath visible in the cool night air. True to her word, Taylor's driver had picked them up in a sleek town car, making Emma feel like she was stepping into a fairy tale. The house looked even more enchanting at night, with soft lights glowing from within and fairy lights strung along the hedges. Taylor greeted them at the door, dressed casually in jeans and a cozy sweater, yet somehow still looking like she belonged on a magazine cover. Come in, she said, ushering them into the warmly lit foyer. I'm so glad you could make it. The dining room was cozy and inviting, with a long wooden table set with simple but elegant dishes. The scent of roasted chicken and fresh herbs filled the air, making Emma's stomach rumble. As they sat down, Taylor's hospitality quickly put them at ease. She asked Emma's mom about the bakery, sharing stories about her own love of baking as a kid. They laughed over stories of kitchen mishaps and swapped favorite recipes. Emma, meanwhile, found herself captivated by the sheer normalcy of it all. For the first time, she wasn't just a fan, she was a guest. Part of Taylor's world in a way she had never imagined. After dinner, Taylor led them into the living room, where a grand piano stood by the window. Do you play? She asked Emma, gesturing toward the instrument. Emma shook her head, wide-eyed. No, but I'd love to learn. Taylor smiled and sat down at the piano, her fingers gliding effortlessly over the keys. She played a soft, soulful melody, her voice filling the room with warmth. Emma felt like she was witnessing something magical, an intimate performance meant just for her and her mom. As the evening wore on, Emma found herself growing more comfortable around Taylor. The pop star wasn't just a celebrity anymore. She was a kind, down-to-earth person who cared deeply about the people around her. Emma's mother noticed it too, remarking later how genuine and gracious Taylor had been. Before they left, Taylor handed Emma a small envelope. This is for you, she said with a smile. Don't open it until you get home. Emma's curiosity nearly consumed her during the ride back. As soon as she was in her room, she tore the envelope open. Inside was a handwritten note. Dear Emma, thank you for being a light in my life during a dark time. You reminded me that small gestures can make a big difference. I hope this is the start of a lasting friendship. With love, Taylor. Beneath the note was a gift card for music lessons at a nearby studio and a small signed photo. Emma's eyes filled with tears. She had never expected anything in return for her concern, but this gesture made her feel truly seen and appreciated. The days that followed were a whirlwind of excitement for Emma. She started her music lessons, determined to learn the piano, and found herself looking forward to her morning waves with renewed enthusiasm. Taylor's presence had become a comforting constant in her life, a reminder that kindness could bridge even the widest gaps. But Emma also realized something profound. Their connection had taught her the power of small acts of kindness. She began noticing opportunities to spread that same light to others. Helping a classmate who was struggling with math, volunteering to organize the school's charity drive, and even surprising her mom with extra help around the bakery. Word of Emma's friendship with Taylor inevitably spread around school, but she was careful to keep the most personal details to herself. It wasn't about the fame or the attention. It was about the genuine connection she had forged with someone she had once thought untouchable. As the weeks turned into months, Emma's life continued to change in unexpected ways. Her newfound confidence spilled into other areas of her life. She joined the school's music club, where she discovered a talent for songwriting she hadn't known she possessed. Her music teacher, impressed by her progress, encouraged her to perform at the upcoming school talent show. The night of the talent show, Emma's nerves were on edge. She sat backstage, her hands trembling as she clutched the sheet music she had painstakingly composed. Just as she was about to go on, her phone buzzed with a text. It was from Taylor. You've got this, Emma. Shine your light. The simple message filled her with courage. As she walked onto the stage and sat at the piano, she took a deep breath and let her fingers find the keys. The melody she played was soft and heartfelt, a reflection of everything she had learned about courage, kindness, and connection. By the time she finished, the audience was on their feet, applauding loudly. After the show, Emma spotted Taylor in the crowd, clapping with a proud smile on her face. It was a moment Emma would carry with her forever, a reminder of how far she had come and how one small wave had changed her life in ways she never could have imagined. Emma's story didn't end there. Her music began to attract attention beyond her school. She was invited to perform at local events, her songs resonating with people of all ages. Her journey from a shy, starstruck girl to a confident young musician inspired those around her. Taylor continued to support Emma from the sidelines, offering advice and encouragement whenever needed. Their friendship became a symbol of how simple acts of kindness could create ripples that extended far beyond the initial moment. Emma often thought back to that first morning when she had waved at Taylor's car, never imagining where it would lead. She realized that life was full of such moments, small, seemingly insignificant decisions that could open doors to extraordinary possibilities. As Emma looked toward the future, she felt a sense of excitement and possibility. She knew there would be challenges ahead, but she also knew she had the strength to face them. With Taylor's unwavering support and her own determination, Emma was ready to take on the world. She continued to wave at Taylor every morning, their ritual a quiet reminder of the bond they shared. But now, each wave carried a deeper message, a promise to stay connected, to spread kindness, and to always believe in the magic of small gestures. For Emma, the world was full of opportunities waiting to be discovered, and she was ready to embrace them all, one wave at a time. Emma's journey with Taylor marked the beginning of a new chapter in her life, one that extended beyond her small suburban neighborhood. Though their morning waves remained a cherished tradition, Emma started to explore new ways to embrace her passion for music and the connections it brought into her life. Each day she felt more confident, more capable, and more certain that her path would involve sharing her heart through music. The major turning point came when her music teacher encouraged her to apply for a regional young composers workshop. The program, designed for budding musicians, offered a chance to work with industry professionals and learn the intricacies of songwriting, arrangement, and performance. Emma hesitated at first, unsure if she was ready for such a leap. But then she remembered Taylor's words, "Shine your light." With that encouragement in mind, Emma filled out the application, pouring her heart into the required essay about her musical inspirations. She included a recording of her original composition from the school talent show, hoping it would be enough to secure her a spot. Weeks later, a thick envelope arrived in the mail. She tore it open with trembling hands and read the first line. "Congratulations, Emma. You've been accepted into the Regional Young Composers Workshop." Emma's mother hugged her tightly, tears of pride in her eyes. "I always knew you had something special, sweetheart," she said. "Now the world will know it too." The workshop was held in a bustling city 2 hours from Emma's hometown. For a week, she would live in a dormitory with other young musicians, attend master classes, and collaborate on group projects. The idea of leaving home, even temporarily, filled her with both excitement and nervous anticipation. Taylor was the first person she told after receiving the acceptance letter. Over a cup of hot cocoa in Taylor's cozy living room, Emma shared her fears about stepping into the unknown. "I'm worried I won't be good enough," Emma admitted, her fingers gripping the warm mug. Taylor's expression softened. "Emma, I've been there. Every time I released a new album or stepped on stage in front of thousands of people, I had those same doubts. But you can't let fear hold you back. You've already proven you're brave, and this workshop is just the next step in your journey." Taylor's words stayed with Emma as she packed her bags and boarded the bus to the city. When she arrived at the workshop, she was greeted by a whirlwind of activity. Young musicians tuning their instruments, instructors bustling between classrooms, and a palpable buzz of creative energy in the air. The first day was overwhelming. Emma met other participants from all walks of life, each with their own unique style and perspective. Some played classical piano with flawless precision, while others brought acoustic guitars and a raw, folksy charm. Emma worried her skills wouldn't measure up, but as the days went on, she realized that everyone brought something valuable to the table. One of her most memorable experiences was a songwriting session led by a Grammy-winning producer. He challenged the group to write a song in pairs, giving them only 2 hours to come up with lyrics and a melody. Emma was paired with a boy named Caleb, who played the violin with haunting beauty. They quickly discovered a shared love for storytelling through music, and created a piece that blended Emma's heartfelt lyrics with Caleb's evocative strings. By the end of the session, their song had brought their classmates to tears. Throughout the workshop, Emma found herself growing not just as a musician, but as a person. She learned to collaborate, to take constructive criticism, and to push herself beyond her comfort zone. By the time the final showcase arrived, a performance in front of an audience of family, friends, and industry professionals, Emma felt a newfound sense of confidence. She performed the song she had written with Caleb, her voice steady and full of emotion as she poured her heart into the lyrics. The applause that followed was thunderous, and for the first time, Emma truly believed she had something special to share with the world. After the performance, one of the workshop instructors approached her with a smile. "You've got a gift, Emma," she said. "Have you ever thought about pursuing music professionally?" The question startled Emma. Until that moment, she had considered music a passion, not a career. But the idea sparked something inside her, a flicker of possibility that refused to be ignored. When Emma returned home, she was brimming with ideas and ambitions. The workshop had opened her eyes to a world of possibilities, and she was eager to share her experiences with Taylor. Over the next few weeks, their conversations shifted from lighthearted chats about favorite songs to deeper discussions about the challenges and rewards of a career in music. Taylor became a mentor to Emma, offering guidance and sharing stories from her own journey. She encouraged Emma to keep writing and to share her music online where it could reach a wider audience. "The world needs more voices like yours," Taylor said one afternoon as they sat by the piano. "Don't be afraid to let people hear you." Taking Taylor's advice to heart, Emma created a YouTube channel and began uploading videos of her performances. She also started posting her original songs on social media, where they quickly gained traction. Her heartfelt lyrics and raw, unpolished style resonated with people, and soon she had a small but devoted following. As Emma's online presence grew, so did the challenges. She received both praise and criticism, and while the positive comments fueled her motivation, the occasional harsh remarks stung deeply. Taylor reminded her that criticism was an inevitable part of putting herself out there. "Not everyone will understand your art," Taylor said during one of their mentoring sessions. "But that doesn't mean it's not worth sharing. You have to stay true to yourself and your vision." Emma took those words to heart, focusing on her music and letting her passion guide her. She continued to write and perform, steadily building her confidence and honing her craft. Her dedication paid off when she was invited to perform at a local music festival, an opportunity that felt like a significant step forward in her journey. The festival was a lively, colorful event held in the town square, with vendors selling handmade crafts and food trucks lining the streets. Emma's performance was scheduled for the late afternoon, and as she stood backstage, she felt a mix of nerves and excitement. When it was finally her turn, Emma stepped onto the stage and took a deep breath. The crowd was larger than she had expected, but she focused on the familiar keys of her piano and the comfort of her own voice. As she played her first song, she felt the music flow through her, carrying her nerves away. By the time she finished her set, the audience was cheering loudly, and Emma knew she was exactly where she was meant to be. The festival performance brought Emma to the attention of a local radio station, which invited her to do a live interview and perform a song on air. The thought of singing live for a radio audience was daunting, but Emma saw it as another opportunity to grow and reach more people with her music. The interview was nerve-wracking at first, but the host's warm, encouraging demeanor helped put Emma at ease. She talked about her inspirations, her songwriting process, and the moment that had sparked her journey, the simple wave that started it all. When it came time to perform, Emma chose a new song she had written, one that reflected her journey of self-discovery and the power of connection. The response was overwhelming. Listeners called in to praise her performance, and the station's social media page lit up with comments from people who had been moved by her music. Emma realized that her story resonated with others because it was authentic, a reminder that even small moments could lead to life-changing experiences. Emma's success continued to grow, and soon she found herself invited to perform at a larger event, a charity concert headlined by none other than Taylor Swift. The idea of sharing a stage with her idol felt surreal, but Taylor assured her she had earned her place. The concert was held in a grand venue, with thousands of fans filling the seats. Emma was scheduled to perform a short set before Taylor took the stage, and as she stood in the wings, she felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. She thought back to the morning she had first waved at Taylor's car, never imagining how that small gesture would change her life. When it was her turn, Emma stepped onto the stage, her heart pounding but her resolve steady. She sat at the piano and began to play, her voice filling the vast space with a song that spoke of hope, courage, and the beauty of unexpected connections. By the time she finished, the audience was on their feet, their applause thunderous. As she left the stage, Taylor was waiting for her with a proud smile. "You were incredible," Taylor said, pulling her into a hug. "I knew you could do it." From that moment on, Emma's path seemed clearer than ever. She continued to write, perform, and inspire others with her story. Her journey, which had begun with a simple wave, had blossomed into a life filled with music, connection, and purpose. Emma knew there would be challenges ahead, but she also knew she was ready to face them. With Taylor's mentorship, her mother's unwavering support, and her own determination, Emma was prepared to embrace whatever the future held. As she sat at her piano one quiet evening working on a new song, Emma felt a deep sense of gratitude for the journey that had brought her here. She realized that the power of small gestures, like a wave or a kind word, could ripple outward and create a world of possibilities. Her music, her story, and her light would continue to shine, reaching hearts far and wide. For Emma, the adventure was just beginning. Emma's story had become one of growth, transformation, and discovery, yet it felt as though her journey was just getting started. Each new experience fueled her desire to delve deeper into her art, exploring new ways to convey the emotions and ideas that swirled within her. She began experimenting with different musical styles, blending her heartfelt ballads with elements of folk, pop, and even a touch of blues. The process was exhilarating, pushing her creativity to places she had never imagined. One of her most significant milestones came when she decided to record her first EP. It was a bold step, one that required not only musical skill, but also a deep well of courage. Emma poured her savings, her time, and her heart into the project, collaborating with a local producer who understood her vision. The studio became a second home, a sanctuary where she could bring her songs to life. The recording process was both challenging and rewarding. Emma found herself obsessing over every detail, from the placement of a single chord to the subtle nuances in her vocal delivery. She wanted the EP to be a reflection of her journey, a collection of songs that captured the highs and lows, the doubts and triumphs, the beauty of connection, and the power of following one's instincts. When the EP, titled Waves of Light, was finally ready, Emma felt a mixture of excitement and nervous anticipation. She organized a small release party at the bakery, inviting family, friends, and a handful of fans who had supported her from the beginning. The night was filled with warmth and laughter, the scent of freshly baked pastries mingling with the soft strumming of a guitar as Emma performed acoustic versions of her songs. Taylor made a surprise appearance, her presence adding a special layer of meaning to the event. As Emma played the title track, a song inspired by their shared journey, Taylor stood in the back, smiling and nodding along. The crowd erupted in applause when Emma finished, and for a moment she felt a wave of pure, unfiltered joy. "Never stop creating," Taylor told her afterward. "The world needs more artists like you." With the EP released, Emma's music began to reach a broader audience. Blogs and local radio stations praised her raw, honest sound, likening her style to a mix of indie folk and confessional pop. Her social media following grew steadily, and she started receiving messages from people all over the world, sharing how her music had touched their lives. One particularly touching message came from a girl named Lily, who lived in a small town halfway across the globe. Lily wrote about how Emma's song Bridges of Hope had helped her through a difficult time. Reading Lily's heartfelt words, Emma realized just how far her music could travel, how deeply it could resonate with people she might never meet. Emma's heart swelled with gratitude as she reflected on how far she had come. What had started as a simple wave on the street corner had blossomed into something extraordinary, a reminder of the beauty in small beginnings and the endless possibilities that followed. She wasn't just chasing dreams anymore. She was living them one note, one lyric, and one connection at a time. With her piano waiting and her heart open, Emma knew the best was yet to come. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, could you leave your comments below and tell us? What are your thoughts on the girl waving at Taylor Swift every day? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.